Hey, y'all doing? Thanks for stopping by checking my video. I'm doing some tone cap experiments here. This is an American Professional Fender P-Bass, Olympic white, tortoiseshell pickguard. I did replace the pickups with DiMarzio Will Powers, which I really like. But the whole thing is, a couple years ago, I played a 56 precision bass, and granted, it had a single coil pickup, the original pickup that was in the precision bass from 51 to 57. It was very, very bright, like so bright that it was almost unbearably bright. And I like bright, because listen, that's pretty bright sound. But anyway, to kill some of the brightness, I didn't use the amp, I used the tone. I've been playing bass since I was like 14. I'm 51 now. And I never really messed around with the tone knobs too much. Like as a teenager, I used to roll back in the tone to try to get that 60s like Mudbucker sound. The thing is, it gets muddy. No pun intended, but you lose all the highs and it gets muffled. Maybe that's a better word, not muddy, muffled. So this 56 P-Bass, and I'm gonna show you a clip because I saved it from 2020 or 21. I started rolling back on the tone control and it really did roll off the highs, but it didn't make it muddy. That's not muddy, that's about a quarter of a way. Go to about halfway. A little further. But it's muddy now. Now we're all the way back. Some people might say, well, yeah, man, that's bass. That's what it's about, right? But the thing is, I don't like mud. Then again, muffled. I gotta stop saying mud because I have a 65 Gibson EBO bass that I absolutely love, which is nothing but mud. But muffled, okay? So I was kind of like, why does that 56 P bass sound like any other electric bass I've ever played since I was like 14? Generally, and I'm 51 now, when you roll back on the tone, it just gets all muddy. This thing just really rolls off the highs and gets smooth. You lose some of the volume, but go ahead and check that out. I'm gonna go ahead and put that old video clip from a couple years ago of me playing that bass. Don't mind the mask. All right, so check this out. Okay, so if you watch that, I think you get the gist of it. Rolls back on the highs, keeps it smooth, blends it, makes it sound nice, but it doesn't get muddy, okay? And for those who are watching who want to keep track or take notes, American Professional, DiMarzio Will Powers, Steve Harris, SH77 Rotosounds. I've posted videos like in my Facebook and fellow bass players go, put some flat wounds on that bass, man. I'm like, these are flat wounds. whatever. They're Steve Harris flat ones. They're Roto Sounds. Roto Sounds are notoriously bright, but I like to be able to roll this back, but not have it be muddy. So what I'm gonna do, I haven't actually opened this thing up and looked at it. Well, I obviously have because I've replaced the pickups, but I'm gonna assume that the tone cap is a 47, a .050, 47. And what I've seen other people do, and what they used to do back in the day, is they used to put a 01 or 100, I forgot the damn word, the UF, a higher value tone capacitor, so you get more out of the tone knob. So I got some of those. I'm gonna replace it, and I'm probably gonna do a little bit of before and after. So let's just do this. Let's just play some standard riffs. This is the before, and then we'll do the afters later. Bring the tone down now about a quarter. Bring it down about half. Now all the way down. So I'm going to swap this out and we'll see what it sounds like. Okay, so I swapped out the 50 nanofarads. That's the acronym that or the word, it's not an acronym, that I had to remember. And I kicked it up to 100 nanofarads. And very, very simple thing to do. And, well, let's hear what it sounds like. So, that's with the tone wide open. I even sprayed some contact cleaner on this. I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, actually, it sounds better. The tone pot was going, so I put some contact cleaner on it. Anyway, let's bring it down a quarter. Oh, so you just made that. Okay. Sounding much different. Rolled off the highs a little bit. Let's see, it's about a quarter. Let's go down about a half and see what it sounds like. Okay. That's about half, maybe 3/4. So let's bring it down a little more. That was about half. So now we're going about 3/4. Tone pot down. Let's change riffs. Sorry, I was riffing there. Now we're going to go all the way down. So let's see. back to the other riff I was doing. Let's see. It's not as muffled, I think, as before, but it still sounds muffled. The highs didn't roll off like in the example I provided earlier for that 56P bass. But I think I said earlier, it could be because of the fact that it was a single coil. There's a guy, myself, who plays both guitar and bass. Single coils are always a little bit brighter than humbuckers. And this is a humbucker. You got 2 coils in here, so I'm not going to go ahead and remove the pickguard and place it again. And I think it sounds a little brighter. And again, these are Rotosound Steve Harris SH77s. Very bright. You know, even with a pick. Get a pick. They are bright horror, you know? They have a really good sound. Now, even with the tone all the way up, I can actually hear a little bit of a difference between the old cap and the new cap, but most of the time I play with my fingers. So if I do have that gig where somebody wants a fatter, old school, flat wound type sound, I just do this. Back a little bit more. Either way, I did a quick little mod. I'm honestly going to have to put this all together and listen with headphones and see if I can hear any differences, but I mean, it's okay. I bought a whole bunch of these capacitors off of Amazon, 100 pieces for like $10. So if I don't like the way this thing sounds, I got a whole bunch of different capacitors I can mess with to try to get the sound I want. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of mess around and do this. And yeah, kudos to Fender for putting out this really awesome American Professional with this really cool color scheme. This is my favorite. I actually played a 63P bass way back in the early 90s, and I was so taken back by the feel of that bass, I never forgot it. So when I tried this out at the Guitar Center, I looked up the specs when I got home, and sure enough, they got the specs off a 63P bass neck. Went back the next day, didn't hesitate, I bought it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Peace. So I'm not done with my video yet. I was listening to the playback of, well, the video, and I was using my Bose Mini SoundLink, which has got awesome sound, lots of bass, shaking up my workbench, making all sorts of weird noises. So I put my AirPods in, and I really got to listen to that. So I can honestly say, and I don't know if it's getting picked up on the video, but the tone cap change did make a difference, a good difference. I think the bass wide open sounds a little more crisper. I don't know. And you roll back on the tone, and it still doesn't have that sound of that 56p bass. And that 56p bass video is not a really great example. Bad audio. You had to be there, basically. And, but I've come to the conclusion that that particular bass, that American Professional, just sounds awesome no matter what strings I put on it or what I do with it. It's just, I love a classic P bass. I have a 1987 Fender Jazz Bass Special made in Japan, and I'm going to open that thing up tomorrow and see what value tone cap I have in that. And that particular bass I use round wound strings on. The Billy Sheehan signature set from Rotosound. They are your classic RS-66 with a heavier E and a lighter G. I don't always go for the signature sets, but I just like the Billy Sheehans. I've been using the Billy Sheehan string since I was like 17, you know, way back in 1989. The Steve Harris set they're heavier. They're very heavy. It's like a 110 to 50. And they sound very bright, but they're flats and they're a lot more comfortable on your hands, and you don't get that sound when you go up and down. But anyway, my point is, I'm an experiment, you know, why not? And if you are a bassist or a guitarist and whatnot, and there's nothing wrong with tinkering, don't be afraid to get a soldering iron and do some soldering. It's not that hard to do. My dad, I was 14 years old and wasn't making a lot of money at 14 years old, doing little yard work here and there for my grandfather, and whatever allowance my parents gave me, and somebody gave me a guitar cord. I was like, cool. And I had this one crappy brown guitar cord that it always kept popping out of the jack. And I would go, Dad, fix this. And he's like, all right. I think after the third or fourth time, my dad's like, okay, watch me. This is how you solder. So I've been soldering since I was 14, and I'm an old fucker now. But anyway, bottom line is experiment, tinker with it. You know, if you were to go to your favorite mom and pop local music store that do repairs and ask them to swap out your tone cap, I mean, what are they going to charge you? 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks to, you know, for like 2 minutes worth of work for a dollar part, you know? But I did this because I saw other people on YouTube do this experiment with swapping out the tone caps, because back in the early days of Fender, they used a higher value for their tone caps. And today the standard is about 50 or 47 nanofarats or puffle-farats. I don't know these words. But anyway, thanks for watching. Experiment. It's fun. Peace.